Welcome, everyone. So glad you could join us. Hope you've got your coffee. Mine says hope. So hope you've got your coffee with you, and we're just going to relax and sit around the table. And if you're new to this channel, I hope that you will subscribe and comment and share with your friends. I've got an amazing lady with me today, a new friend, Anne Fowler. So welcome, Anne. So glad you could join me today.
Thank you for inviting me.
This is going to be a really great conversation. I'm excited to hear about your adventures.
Well, yeah,
And we're both Canadian, so that's awesome.
that's right. You see, both Canucks. So there we go.
We are. My guests are often from the States or from other countries, so it's nice to have a fellow Canadian here. So Anne, your story is an interesting one. And where did it start?
Well, Linda, the whole idea of this when I wrote my memoir, uh, I did it on several reasons. My friends have been daring me for years to do it. I also always kind of wanted to get out there what had happened and what changed in my life. And
Okay,
COVID hit. And so I was looking for things to do. So I just started writing
good
and
for
uh,
you.
and got it done. And it was quite an experience. It was not what I expected at all. Um, the response to the book was not what I expected, but probably more importantly, my response to actually putting it out there was not what I expected.
It's
And that's
interesting when we start writing too, because what's in our heart, what's inside us will come out. And often we don't know what's inside us until it's on paper.
that's right. I agree.
Yeah.
And things that you might have, experiences you might have had and had tried to bury for years, come back to you, and you have to deal with them. And these may have been things you never dealt with. I mean, I had
Mhm.
things that I had never dealt with like 60 years ago and had to face up when I wrote about it in the book. And that was very enlightening, very cathartic
Brave,
is the word I think. Cathartic, I think, is the word
cathartic.
I want.
Yes.
Yeah,
And it's
it
very
really
brave.
was.
It's brave
Well,
to,
that's what a couple of people have said who've read it said, we couldn't have done it. I said, well, I'm 83, so who cares, really what
oh,
you've done in
wow.
your life at this point. So, you know,
Yeah. Well, good for you to take the time to do it. Um, I think writing is kind of a healing process.
it is, it is. And again, I didn't recognize that that's what was going to happen, but it was. And so, as I've said to people, they said, well, how well is your book doing? It was self-published. And I said, way better than I expected. But I said, you know what? At this point, it's not important. What's important is the results that came out of it for me and for some other people.
That's right.
And so that's, I kind of think, I sort of feel in the background, people say, why did you write it? And I think God was probably prodding me to do it for years. And I finally did it.
Well, good for you.
So,
Good for you, Anne.
yeah.
So, there was as crazy as that COVID time was, I think a lot of people did just pause in their life and sat down and decided to do what they'd been putting off doing.
I think so. There were a lot of very negative things came out of COVID, as we all know.
Yes.
Uh, but there were some positives as well. And for me, this was a positive result.
Well, it sure sounds like it. So tell us your
And I have not
story.
had COVID. I have not had COVID either, so knock wood.
Good for you.
Yeah,
So
not
where does
sure
your
how I
stories
avoided it.
Where does your story start? Now, I know a little bit about it, but I don't want to just jump in when it could be the middle of your story. I just want to know where you want to start.
Well, as I said, it's a memoir. It's my life story. So basically, it starts was I should read you the first line. The opening line in the book, okay, it's my memoir, says, In the beginning, God created. No, wait a minute. That line has been used in another book. I'll start over again. Margaret Ann Louise Hamilton, aka Mal, emerged January 15th, 1941, to the delight of her first-time parents. So that's kind of how it started. And then as I went through the book, it was a memoir is about your history, and about the relationships that you had or the events in your childhood or whatever that helped form who you were. And because of the way the book goes towards the end, when there's this change in my life, I wanted to uh, give evidence that I had had a loving family and these loving relationships with my grandparents and my parents and my friends. So that's kind of, so I went through with some of the funny stories, some of the good stories, some of the bad stories, some of the inappropriate stories, and just went right through
So you were telling
my life.
secrets.
Oh, lots of secrets in there. Yeah, lots of secrets, lots of secrets. You know what? The worst part, well, I can say this to you because I think I can say this. There were things in this book that my son never knew, and he was blindsided, and I had no idea. I was absolutely horrified that it happened because I'm very close to both my children. It never occurred to me that he did not know something. He says, "Well, you told your daughter." So anyhow, so that actually was a positive thing that came out of writing the book, the way that happened. But
Yeah.
basically, it just goes through my life and stories, and I do it in sections. I do it in personal stuff, and then I do it according to work and my career and things like that. And then there comes the part where in 1993, um, my family doctor was doing medical missions in Honduras, and he said to me, "Why don't you come with us, Annie? You'll love it. It's like going to a poor summer camp, you know." So I said, "Sure." So that's how I got to go to Honduras, and that's where I had the experience. And then
So,
my life changed from that point on, in the
so what
sense that I
happened
drove
in,
everybody in
yeah,
Honduras. Do you want me to describe what happened?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay. Um, Well, I was on a 2-week medical mission in the wilds of Honduras, where I'd never been. And it was one night, middle of the night. And I mean, these were pretty rough places that we went to. And so the women were all sleeping on the floor in a room. And one night I woke up in the middle of the night, and I thought I heard somebody speaking to me. And I sat up, and God said very clearly to me, your path, your life is going to change. You are going to follow a different path, and it's not going to be all about you, but about other people now. And
Mm.
it never occurred to me. I mean, this had never happened to me. I looked around, nobody had wakened up. Excuse me. I was the only one there, but it was very clear to me that he had spoken to me. I mean, absolutely, I knew this. And, I was brought up a Christian. I was brought up in the Anglican Church, which to your viewers who are outside of Canada, that means Episcopalian or Church of
Yeah,
England.
yeah.
And yes, I went to Sunday school, and we went to church every week. My first husband was a minister, for heaven's sakes, you know. But this had never happened to me. This kind of experience had never happened, but I knew it was true. And so I guess I just started thinking about it. I didn't go back to sleep, obviously. And when I went home from Honduras, I announced to my kids, who were still living with me at the time, and actually my mother was living with me at that point, and I said, "I know what I'm going to do with the rest of my life." And I said, "I'm going to sell my business in 2000. I'm going to retire. I'm going to move to Honduras for 6 months of the year. And what are you going to do? I don't know, but that's what I'm supposed to be doing."
Wow.
And then I drove
Wow.
everybody crazy. I drove everybody nuts for 7 years. It's only 4 years, 3 weeks, 2 days, and 5 hours till I leave. And they were just glad to be rid of me when I left. But no, so that's what I did. That's what I did. And so
Wow.
it's been 25 years almost now. And to be honest, I didn't expect that I was going to stay in Honduras. My original, well, I didn't really have a clear plan, but my original thought that I would stay for 5 years because I was going to be living over a clinic for the poor that I'd been affiliated with through the mission, the medical mission I'd been on. That's who had organized that. Sorry. So um, I was there and I did a variety of things, helping them and instigating programs and doing stuff that I had done running my business for 30 years. And I guess, how did it happen? My daughter Liz and I, she was visiting me, and we had gone up to the north coast of Honduras to a resort for a few days as a vacation.
Mhm.
And long story short, we met some people who kind of introduced me to possibility of looking at a property up in that area. And I did, and I knew the instant I walked into El Porvenir, which is where I live. It's a small village on the north coast. I knew this is where I was supposed to be.
Wow.
And then from that day on, I just said, okay, this is what I'm going to do, and made plans to, that's what I do. So here I
Wow.
am.
So God gave you a real love for the country
Yes,
and
yes.
the people there.
Yeah, I love the Hondurans. I'm very close to them, and I've got, excuse me, there's two people there now. I say young people, they're young compared to me. Iris is 45, Melvin's 53. Melvin was the young man that I hired 21 years ago as the director of the clinic in El Progreso, which is where I started out, and he's still there. And Iris is a young woman that I met up after I moved to El Porvenir, which is where I built my house on the north coast. And the two of them like my Honduran children. I mean, my kids know them, and they feel like they are brothers and sisters. So
Wow.
um, yes, I love the
So,
Honduran people.
so Anne, what was your career in Canada? What were you doing?
My main career, I did a lot of, I was a flight attendant with American Airlines originally, and I was in nursing before that. Um, for over 30 years, I had a human resources business. In Canada, we call them personnel agencies. In the States and other places, they say human resources agencies, whatever. But that's what I did for almost just over 30 years. And so
Okay.
recruiting, hiring for other people, sales and marketing,
So
you know,
headhunter kind of stuff.
I was a headhunter. Thank you very much. You're
Headhunter,
Canadian, of
yeah.
course, you know that term. I was
Yeah.
a headhunter.
So
That's what I did.
so then when you're in Honduras, did you set up a whole business down there or what did you?
No, when I went to Honduras, I'll try and make this as brief as I can. When I first got there, when I arrived in 2000, after I retired and moved down there and started my life, I had no idea what I was going to be doing. And ultimately, it ended up, I hired Melvin as to replace the director of the clinic, which was failing. It was a clinic for the poor people. And I developed programs in the city of El Progreso, which is a good sized city in Honduras. It's, I think, fourth largest. I think I hear rain. I do, but nothing's happening yet. Um, Large city. I set up programs in the schools, education programs in health and education. Set up programs for testing the children's eyes. I set up a program at the clinic where I call it Visiting Doctors Program, which is international ophthalmologists come to the clinic, and that's been going for over 25 years now since I started it. And
Wow.
so I did a lot of that. So then when I moved up to El Porvenir, which was 5 years later, I built my house in 2005, 2006. I took the programs that I'd been running in the schools and all these other things up there and then developed new ones. So, and you've seen my website, so you know what we do there now. And I've slowed down, needless to say, over the work that I did earlier. I've got other people doing it now. But my major project right now that I still have a hand in and still work at is the dental program for the children. And every year we have an annual dental program for the children of grade 3 through grade 6 in our village of El Porvenir. We see over 800 kids. Our dental teams come down every year and bring hygienists, and the kids all get their teeth cleaned. And then if they need work, they go. I built a clinic in Porvenir. We have a dental clinic there that we put together. And so if the kids need dental help, then they go there and they get free dental care. So from grade 3 through 6, so that's 4 years of dental health that the kids get. And I mean, Hondurans dentistry is one of the last things on their mind. Trust me.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Well,
they're
and
too poor;
that,
they don't have the money.
yeah, yeah. So you set this clinic up like right from scratch on your own, or you
Well,
had a
I
team?
didn't set. I did and didn't. Centro de Salud is a government clinic that they put in most of the small villages in Honduras, and it's run by the government with government staff. A doctor comes in, whatever. So supposedly we had a dental clinic at our Centro de Salud in El Porvenir. It consisted of and a lawn chair and a side light. That was the dental clinic. There was no equipment. They pulled teeth. So when I started the dental program with Bill, Bill Kerr is my own dentist here in Haliburton, and uh, when we started it, we were using another clinic. We weren't even using a one. I had a church nearby that I knew the pastor quite well, and they had a really good dental clinic up there for the people in their area, their village, and we were using that for 2 years. But with a lot of work, and Bill and other dentists that were in part of the program, we managed to get all the stuff to equip a proper dental clinic, and so we put it in. So now it's a well-equipped dental clinic now.
Wow, good for
You know,
you.
so it's
That's
all
an
going.
enormous amount of work.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And
Yeah.
this year when I was there, we had 3 dental teams down February and March, and that was the first time that they had been there since 2020. The program started in 2008, but when COVID came, of course, they couldn't come. And then, unfortunately, uh, 2023, when they were supposed to come back, Bill Kerr's wife died. Lisa died of a brain cancer, and he just was, he was not coming that year. So it was 4 years that we didn't have a program. So all the kids that have been in our program before, grade 3 to 6, they're going to high school now. So now we've
Yeah.
got a whole new group of kids. And so the interesting thing was to see if we were starting over, like would the teeth be as bad as the group we first started seeing in
Oh,
2008?
oh,
But it
right.
wasn't, because they'd had siblings who had been through the program. They're older. But the best story is this one little girl, grade 3. This year she comes up to me, Senora Anna, and then in Spanish she says to me, "My mommy and daddy were in your program." And
Oh,
she were. Her parents had been in the program back in 2008, 2009. Well,
wow.
so
So you made such a significant difference in an entire generation in that community.
I hope so. We've certainly made some inroads for sure in the things we've done with the medical programs. I have a bilingual school there. I started a bilingual school, and there's just it's just so many things that have been going on. And as I said, at this stage of my life, I'm now kind of on the backside of it. And my children are pushing me and saying, "Mother, you've got to make a plan when you're going to leave, and because you can't stay there forever." And so I know it's awful. I don't even want to think about it. So,
Wow. Wow.
As God sees fit, he'll keep me there as long as he wants me there.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. So Anne, what like how did you feel the faith and the strength and the like to just do all that, to just kind of make
I
the
don't know.
decision, I'm gonna do it.
I don't know. I don't know. I just would think of it. I'd feel inspired and I'd do it. And it just fell into place. You know, I mean, I
I
wasn't
think so
doing it
often,
by myself, that's for sure.
sorry, you weren't doing it by yourself.
I wasn't doing it by myself. I mean, this wasn't all me for sure. I mean, I really truly believe God was put, you know, there to help me do it. So,
And
so anyhow,
he created a team for you to work with?
yeah, I mean, people would come and offer to do things, and you know, it just fell into place. It fell into place. But
Right.
I don't for one single second think it was all me, you know. I mean, it
That's
couldn't have been done without all the people that have contributed to this. I mean, over the period of, let me see, since 2000, when did I get there? I got there in 2006. 2009, an organization was started called Honduras Child Alliance, which wasn't my organization. I sat on the board of it, but I knew the person that was running it.
yeah.
And she and I worked together to start our bilingual program for the kids. The free English program. And that started in 2008. And where she was the one that recruited the volunteers from all over the world. We've had international volunteers there.
Mhm.
We've had over 831 volunteers come to
Wow.
Honduras in our programs since
I
then, you know.
So are people coming for like a volunteering holiday type of thing?
No, no, they come, these are mostly young people, mostly. There are some retirees, but mostly they're young people who are, you know, either just finished university or they're in a gap year between, especially in Europe, that's very common for them to have a gap year between high school and university. And they
Okay.
take a year off to do something else, and they commit for a year and they come down and
Okay.
work in the programs.
Okay. I've heard
And they're
lately of,
volunteers.
yeah, I've heard lately of people who, instead of just going for a holiday, they want to go for like a work holiday, and they go somewhere to work in a mission for, instead of just, sitting on a beach type of thing,
Oh,
they go
really? Okay.
to work. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I wondered if you got that type of group
No,
too.
we get the people, our volunteers, our young volunteers that are coming to teach in the programs, like in the English program, the free English program, not the school, but the free English program. Um, and that's a whole thing, that organization, what they're doing now. They commit, I think the least amount of time they can come is 4 months. I think that's the minimum
Okay.
that they're accepted into the program.
Okay.
But
So they're
some of them
making a
come for a
commitment
year.
then. Yeah, they're
Yeah,
making
some
a
of them come for a
commitment.
year.
Yeah, good.
But the people that come to help me and do stuff for me, like the doctors that come and do the eye exams, the ophthalmologists, or I mean, the dental program is pretty well solid, and Bill and them run that. But I'm trying to think what else. But the volunteers that come and help us they're there for a week, usually 2 weeks, you know,
Okay.
and they live with me when they come. So
Wow.
they live in my house when they come, those people.
This is a remarkable story.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
You can see more about that. I mean, aside from my website, which really gives the story of what Honduras has been. But if you go to my Facebook page, just the Facebook page, and scroll down, you'll see the dental teams and what they were doing, and pictures of the kids and all of that stuff.
mhm.
If you're
Well,
interested, you know. To see.
and you've written a book, so I'm going to put the link below the description for the YouTube viewers. Um, so if you can just send me the link, that would be.
I'll send it to you. But if they go to my website, if you go to my website, the link is on there too. Like
Oh,
right at
okay.
the beginning. The way they designed the website, it's like my Honduran journey, but at the beginning it says Anne's book, you know, memoir, whatever, and the link to go to it. So it's on Amazon. And I mean, every country has you know this, every country has a different thing, but it's, if you just go to Amazon and put in, I've worn many hats. I've worn many hats is the title of the memoir, and it comes up.
And
And
I'm sure well, it sounds like you have worn many hats.
well, and that was the joke, we couldn't think for a long time, you know, the original, I have to share this with you, the original title of the book was going to be a picture on the front of a little angel, cartoon angel, and a little devil. And then it was going to, the title was going to be, She Did What? And for a long time, that was going to be the title. I still laugh at it, but I was with some friends once. Oh, I don't know. This is before I actually published it. And one of the women said, "You know what, Anne? I came up with a name for your book. I think you should call it I've Worn Many Hats, because we all know you as the hat lady, because we've never
Oh,
seen you without a hat." The joke at one point when somebody saw me, they said, without a hat, they said, "Oh my God, she has hair." Well, so, so anyhow, um, so it's entitled "I've Worn Many Hats," but it is true. It is true. It is
wow,
true.
wow. So how would you, what could you say to inspire other people um to just really listen to God, and he's probably trying to tell all of us to do stuff. I
Yeah,
mean, like I said earlier, just for me to start this channel and hear the stories, it's like, okay, am I hearing that right? Because we
yeah,
want to we
yeah,
want to follow him, not go before him. So what would
exactly.
you say to inspire people?
I don't know. I think all of us can do is try to be kind to other people and to live a good life. But I guess, you know what? Somebody once said to me, if you just lie there, if you just take, a few minutes before you go to sleep every night, and you just lie there and let thoughts come into your head, sometimes that works. It did with me. It did with me. So I don't know. And if you're open to listening, he speaks to you.
Yeah, yeah.
If you're
And
open to
and
listening.
I think the journaling helped, like you were saying with writing, and things showed up that you didn't know were there.
Right, right, right. That's true. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what is the name of your book that you are just
Oh,
published?
Just Pause to Grieve is my book.
Just Pause to Grieve. Okay, send me the link for that too, please. And because that sounds like a very interesting um, and helpful book to a lot of people from the
I
way
think
you described it.
I think
Is- you think what?
it it's needed. It's needed. It's for to bring people hope and encouragement, and just in the journey of recovery. That's what it's about.
Is it too personal a question if I say what inspired you to write it?
Oh, unfortunately, I know that's what the topic I know about. A lot of loss and grief. A
Okay.
lot,
All
a
right.
lot of loss and
All
grief.
right.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Um, Many years of loss and grief. So it's just learning how to recreate a life that people enjoy. That can be
Mm-hmm.
difficult when you lose your identity in, you've lost a partner, or, it could be through death or divorce, and you've lost, you kind of lose your identity. You can
Mm-hmm.
lose your social circles, change your environment changes, your home changes, and it affects us socially, environmentally, physically. Grief affects us in all different ways. So it's learning how to recognize it and how to love ourselves through the journey. It's okay. It's okay to grieve. We grieve for all
Mm-hmm.
different reasons and in all different, I think we go in and out of the stages. I don't I don't or I prefer to say there's stages of healing.
Okay, that makes sense.
It's more hopeful.
That is, and if this is a book meant to help people through it, I would think that would be the way to do it and be
Yeah,
helpful.
it's also, it's guidebook journal. So the first section is all about the person you've lost, because it's really important to remember those people.
Mhm.
The people that are around us don't necessarily talk about the people that we've lost. They don't want to hurt us. They don't want to bring it up, but we're
That's
already
what I
living in that.
understand. Yeah, yeah.
We're already living in that. We're not going to forget them. They're with us all the time. So it's remembering and writing it down, and just guarding and treasuring those memories. Yeah.
Mhm.
So,
Good for you. Well, I'll look forward to reading that.
oh, thanks, Anne. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
And
So,
I hope that you will, other people will read my book as well. Just so you know, the funds, the profits from my book all go into my Honduran programs. That's one of the reasons I wrote it, is to help fund my Honduran programs, which
but
it seems get more.
it just sounds remarkable. I'm really
Well, thank
impressed
you.
with
Well,
what you're doing.
it's when you think about it, a quarter of my life has been spent doing this. More than a, yeah, it's just I can tell you, 40 years ago, this is not where I would have seen myself today. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
But God
I
has a
gotta hope
plan,
I'm doing the right. Yeah, exactly.
you
Well,
know.
I think that's it. What's the old saying? If you want to tell God your plan, you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. You ever heard that?
I
You want to
haven't
make
heard
God
that,
laugh,
but
tell him your plan. Yeah,
yeah.
tell him your plan. You want to make God, because God's got a plan. Because
Yes.
God's got a plan.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah, and he
So
already knows the ending, so likely his plan is the one we should follow.
exactly, 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 exactly.
Yeah, that's good.
So
That's good.
so
So,
anyhow,
so you've really learned to love these Honduras people, and they've become home for you.
well, they have. I mean, it's going to be incredibly hard for me to leave, and I already know what I'm going to do. I mean, nobody wants to hear an old lady talk about where she's going to go, but I mean, I'm going. We've got a seniors residence in Haliburton that that's where I will go, and I already have got it plotted when you get on the waiting list and then you go and so on. It'll be 4 years from now. 4 years from now, and I'm out of Honduras. And that's going to be very hard.
Yeah, yeah. But you've made such an impact on so many lives, and like we'd mentioned earlier, generations of people. You've been able to sow a lot of seeds, and you've been able
I
to
hope so.
love
I
these
hope
people.
so.
Yeah.
I like to think I have anyhow. So we shall see, and time will tell. You know, it's my the house I have down there. Whoever takes that house or buys it when I leave, part of the deal, they have to continue with my programs. That's part of the no, but that's part of the deal of the whole thing, is that they must continue with the dental program, because that's
Wow.
the one. The others are running without me. I mean, they don't need me anymore, but the dental one is running out of my house, sort of thing. So,
Oh, I see.
um,
Okay. Okay.
well, I mean, it's running out of my house in that I provide the space for them to live in, and and so um, hopefully it will continue.
Well,
But you never know.
this is quite the legacy.
Well, one would hope so. I don't know. Um, you
Oh,
don't know.
yes. No, this is a legacy that you're leaving for the Honduras people, and something that your family too. It's a legacy. Good for you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, it sounds like God's been blessing you and the people through you, and
I
that's an
hope
awesome
so.
way to live.
Well, I feel like it's the right thing to do. I felt like it was the right thing to do, and that's what I've been doing. And I mean, clearly you're making a difference in people too with your book that you've written on grieving and healing. So we're both helping people.
Well, I love to hear people's stories. People's stories are very inspiring, what God's been doing through others. So if we can just, it's a gift. I consider it a privilege when someone shares their story with me. So yeah, it's a gift.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
So
do
thank
too.
you.
When somebody shares a story with me, yes, I do too.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah. Thank you for your time this afternoon, Anne. I really appreciate your encouragement for people. And your story is very inspiring. It's a remarkable, what a complete change of your life and just following in the
Completely.
steps that God's put in front of you.
Mhm. So
Yeah.
let's hope it continues.
And
And
it
thank
will.
you for your time. Thank you for inviting me.
Nice to meet
Alrighty.
you today.
Thanks
And
again.
thanks again, Anne. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you. And stay in touch.
And the people who've been watching this, again, please share with your friends the encouragement and subscribe. And if you have any questions for Anne, put them in the comments below. That would be great. Thanks again. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you. All right. Bye now.
Bye-bye.